welcome this out. Let's take this opportunity to welcome Sarah back to the continent.
She was alone.
We make a joke about incontinent, but I better not do it. I don't mind. There you go. Thank you, Jason. He's gonna take notes. Stuff like that. There's Hoagie. Hey, Hoagie, way to go. All right, this is what I was speaking of, making sure you understood your value. There's
Nobody knows
one.
what you're doing.
What's that?
I don't know what you're doing here.
That's good. Okay. So we talked to these, crazy enough, I knew the numbers. How about that? The one thing I want to make sure too that you're reminded, if you can have a good reputation, and most of you are honest and trustworthy. No, not gonna joke. Friend or a family member, you have those people. That means if you work your sphere, you're good as gold. So let's move forward. And for those of you who may be feeling the pinch a little bit more and are having belief challenges a little bit, I recommend this week's One Thing podcast. It's great how they break down what your truth is, or excuse me, what your faith is and what is fact. Our beliefs kind of go in here. They kind of get pushed around by our emotions. So it's a good time to reevaluate that. And speaking of the one thing, one person that's amazing, let's bring up Grace.
Yeah. Okay, just a couple things to highlight for April. So next Tuesday, Brian Emerson is going to be in here talking deeper into his pipeline maturity, kind of tagging off of the meeting that he was in here for. I think it was like a month ago, a week ago. So we're excited to have him back in here on Tuesday at 10 a.m. And then next Thursday, Jake Loris is going to be in here. He's taught this class here before and it's been great, super well attended. You can go away with a lot of nuggets about your business and your personal life, and he just speaks to that really well. So if you haven't had a chance to go to this class taught by Jake, I highly recommend it. Okay, and then the Parade of Homes bus tour is next Friday. It's a big week next week. So we're really excited for this. We're gonna have Zupa sandwiches, some drinks as usual if you've been on it before. It's a great social media opportunity. I posted a couple videos on Facebook about how to use it for your social media, and then I put one out this morning about what your settings should look like on your phone for video. So you should take a look at that before you go on the bus so that you can have good quality content throughout the day. So scan this QR code if you haven't yet. Get signed up for that. It's still open. And then April 14th at 11 a.m. Rachel Adams Lee is hosting this class. It's virtual. I have the link if you want to do it from home. So if you want that link, I can send it to you. Just shoot me an email or pop by. I'll send that to you. Otherwise, we're going to be having it in a conference room on April 14th. And then lastly, Mega Camp. If you're thinking about going, I encourage you to sign up now, scan this QR code and save some money. This is going to be August 17th through 20th in San Antonio. There's a lot of great stories from last year's Mega Camp, so I'm sure there will be lots this year. So if you haven't signed up for that or want to, thinking about it, take a look or look into it more. That's all from me.
All right. Thanks, Grace.
Yeah, thank you.
He does that with such grace.
Yes. Our meeting is graceful. Meeting is graceful. Speaking of people full of something. Come on, Brian.
So I was gonna come up and say to your news about last night, rates dropped 1%. And it's gonna be April Fools. I would assume you would have got hammered by April Fools by somebody. But the reboot kind of set them off and I think you kind of, so I probably could have worked that in there. All right, so I want to do a quick recap, wrap a bow around the non-QM mortgages that I've been talking about for the last month and a half or so. Non-QM, basically, they don't conform to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. government comes out, okay, these are the guidelines, Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA, you have to meet these certain guidelines. Well, these are non-qualifying mortgages, they don't need to meet those guidelines, there's other factors that come into play as far as qualifying for these mortgages. And I want to just kind of touch on what's it gonna do? All I'm looking for is possibly finding new customers for you. Not, okay, they're not working or they're retired with not much income. We, in the past, okay, there's probably nothing we can do for you. Well, maybe there is something we can do for you, right? Just to touch on what we had talked about previously, bank statement programs. Use 12 months or 24 months of bank statements, deposits, typically self-employed people, look at their deposits into their account and use those monthly deposits as a 12-month average and use that as income. All right, I read something that 37% of our customers are self-employed, 1099. They're not traditional 40 hours a week or salary. All right, so there's 37% of customers out there that maybe we can tap into that we haven't been in the past. Cash flow, the DSCR, debt service. This is for investment properties. You're just buying an investment property and we're just looking, what does the appraiser maybe say would be the rentals on that property? If the rentals would be 3,000 and the total payment is 3,000 or less, that can work. All right, and again, and all these programs are as little as 10% down, so I'll touch on. Again, just kind of recapping real quick, 1099 program, we know about that. We can just use the 1099 income. We're all trying to, we get our income and then we're trying to nickel and dime it down, pay Uncle Sam as little as possible. Well, that catches a lot of our customers when we're using a 2-year average on their income. And, they've been nickel and diming, so now their income isn't high enough to qualify. We can just use 10% expense factor, so you got our total top line on the 1099, 10% off, and that's our income for the year, right? Which is almost always higher than what it truly is. Assets, we can use assets. We've got a customer who maybe, $2,000 a month in Social Security, but they got $1 million in 401k or other asset accounts. Well, the Social Security is not going to qualify, and traditionally that's all we could really use. Well, for assets, we can use, if you take that asset, depending on which one it is, but you can divide it basically by 5 or 7 years, and they'll still have money left. We can use that as income. So let's say, hey, well, you got $1 million in an account, and we'll take $10,000 a month as income. Well, then after 5 years, that million, there's still going to be something left. So we can use 10 grand as income, even though they're not drawing a monthly income. So we can use that as an income. So really, regarding that, some key points, 10% down, all right? And there's no mortgage insurance. Yeah, the rates are probably, a month ago, I would have said 6.5 to 9, probably 7 to 9.5 right now. So the rates are higher on these. It's a higher risk program, so you're going to pay for it. But as little as 10% down, the mortgage insurance, there's no mortgage insurance, so that can help offset the higher rate. Maybe not 100%, but it can help somebody get into a home maybe where they couldn't before. And we just came out with a, you think there's always new things coming up. This is a DSCR program, so it's investment properties. It's probably 40 to 50% down payment. There's no credit score. 1 day out of bankruptcy or foreclosure. And we can do that deal. Basically still looking at what does the appraiser say that the rents are going to be? 3,000, oh, the payment's only 2,500. That can work. I'm just throwing that out there to, think out of the box. These things can be done. If you've got customers who have cash, but the rest of the picture doesn't look good, maybe there's a way to do something. Any questions on any of these type programs? A lot of you have come in, either emailed me or stopped in and asked questions, which is always great. You can always do that. And if something comes up, you know where to find me.
Brian, how was your golf? Work about, did you get a chance to catch up with Brian when he was
It was good. Palm Springs, and I got all the way up to 95 a few days. Take that.
Your score, your golf score? Or-
Got all the way up to 95 degrees.
Thanks, brother.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Brian. We've been southern this rock. All right. Well, Cece and I were on a call yesterday, so this is just some more info sharing. And so had the team meeting all ready to go. We were on a call at 2:00-ish. And they shared some great information we thought we would share. We are far from experts on this. Just took what we learned from the call, made some slides, and just want to update. So industry updates. So some people were wondering what's happened with Compass and Anywhere plus Redfin, and then us with Zillow. So we thought we'd talk about it. First of all, it's interesting that you got a compass, but you're going anywhere.
There's no more room there.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not ripping on anybody, but that's kind of what happens, I think, when you merge so many things. So hopefully they find there somewhere. So. It's a new mega brokerage as kind of a thing, as a monopoly kind of a feel. There's still gonna be a lot of legal shoes to drop, so to speak, yet, but. It's a competitive the competitive landscape has changed. And it's massive consolidation of brands under the Compass umbrella. Again, Compass acquired Anywhere, former Realogy, and the other companies that go with them. We'll talk about that right here. Coldwell Banker, commercial as well, of course. Century 21, Sotheby's, ERA, Better Homes and Gardens, and Corcoran. Those who know Corcoran. And they went over some of the potential reasons why. Cece, you want to jump in?
Yeah, so what's really interesting is that there's just this glaring comparison with this merger in comparison to KW. This is where I'm one of the areas that I'm really focusing on. So in comparison to the two and what's going on here is that Compass has been losing money. Probably the underlying reason why there was this merger. So they had $1.7 billion in revenue, yet lost $154 million, and they're probably bleeding about $50 million annually. Okay, so they're operating in the red. Okay, the financial reporting, there's no longer transparency. So that report used to be on front page, right at the top on the right. It's now like in another report, an investing report, and it's like 75 pages deep, right? So they've taken that transparency away as far as that financial reporting. So a lot of those agents are probably not in the know as to what's going on in comparison to us, who we are operating in the black. We are always fiscally fit. We still are. We are still very entrepreneurial company. And remember, you guys, we as a company distribute $63 million in profit share, right? And we have that financial transparency. So these are the things that we're really, really focused on, and that we're agent-centric business model built on independence. Whereas where you have with Redfin, more like in employees, which we'll kind of touch on a little bit here.
Yeah, and this is what triggered Gary in the industry,
Mhm.
is the fact that to have a Compass aligned with an employee-based company
Right,
really shook up the industry and made Gary's of the world take notice. If you recall, the privatization of the MLS is what Compass Anywhere teaming up with Redfin is trying to do. So private exclusive is their phase one, get the listings only on their page. Compass needed a Redfin site to be able to do this, which makes sense. And it tests the market without impacting any days on market and price reductions and those kinds of things. Then the coming soons, listings are exclusively there for broader release on Redfin before broader release, and then of course to the public, which is what we all see, right? What it does is it limits independent brokerages and smaller firms.
yeah,
And that's where I think we're gonna wind up getting some more pushback coming up.
Yeah, so really quickly, smaller brokerages, boutique brokerages, really small ones, they're gonna really struggle with this issue. So that's something that I'm, again, watching out for, but definitely want you guys to know. What's important.
What's the Commerce Department saying about that though? I mean, that was the problem of always with withholding listings.
Mhm.
I love your thought and I love your comment. And just before we started this, we said, this is all we really know about any of it,
Got it.
because we had a class at 2 o'clock yesterday. So
Got
it's a great thought. We'll put that here and we'll have the full dialogue. Have the full. So I appreciate that. Don't apologize for that. It's good. Oh, that's good. So why did Gary, a lot of people didn't expect this, so. It was a direct response to Compass and Redfin to level the playing field. So us and some other partnering brokerages like Remax, and there's some interesting, what's the word I'm looking for? I won't say it. Well, there's some interesting, scuttlebutt when it comes to mergers and acquisitions and then Remax. So, and others, and so that we can now offer coming soon exposure on the broader open scale, but Gary didn't stop there. He wanted to make sure it was monetized for you. So that if you are able to capture leads because your coming soons are on Zillow.
Sidebar,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Mhm.
I think that's very important, and if you're not using coming soon, I really encourage you to do so. And the fact that this is gonna play to your benefit, instead of doing coming soon for maybe 2 or 3 days, try to put your timeline where coming soon is out there for at least a week. Because of this affiliation with Zillow and the coming soon, I believe you'll be able to capture more leads yourself. I hope that makes sense. Sorry, you're lucky.
Well, that was great. Thank you. Appreciate
Jamie,
that.
if you don't mind, can you go back one slide just really quickly? I just want to state, thank you, Steve, for that. Gary, because a lot of people are questioning why Gary Keller did what he did. It's to combat this, right? He's like, whoa, okay. We need to make sure that we have a leg up here. And so then you move forward. Just because a lot of people are questioning why this was done. It's just, he was just making a move and he recognized like, okay, we don't want to be at a disadvantage. We've got to make a move, right? And so I think this is really important, which ties into what you were saying, Steve. I know that a lot of people were questioning, but I really appreciate that he had the foresight to see.
I have another question in regards to that though, because Zillow has always had coming soon from the MLS. And so I don't understand what the, what's that difference?
Not all markets function like the state of Minnesota.
Got it, right, okay,
And so
This is
other
a
states have
national
different rules for coming soon,
okay,
and this is about nationalizing them.
got it.
And making money's off the leads. But the bigger part, and we'll speed it up because we want to get the
Yeah,
Collins to show.
for sure.
And the industry stability, he stopped a process again of having this become more of a privatized situation, more like how real estate is done in other countries. Or like the Redfin model, employees, functionaries, for example. So Compass well, it should be affirmation. And by affiliating with the Redfin model is a dependency. Redfin as it is as dependent as it gets. Attracting agents who want one-to-one services, basically to have our industry be more functionary
Mhm.
rather than fiduciary. So erosion of personal branding, top listing agents of all those companies might be forced to remove their yard signs, personal branding in favor of the big company. So there's a lot of changes potentially, so keep your ears up for some friends that might be in trouble with that. The model you align with matters more than ever. Consolidation is never neutral. There's winners and losers and the stakes are real. So the opportunity is awareness and relationships. So agents affected in companies, office consolidation, potential closure, shifting fee structures, compensation models, business model changes impacting daily operations, and uncertainty about their brand and their future and their identity. So what's the opportunity? The opportunity.
So because of the uncertainty, They are facing some instability. This is what my ears are peeled up. This is what I'm looking out for. There are agents who really care about their brand. They care about their signs. They want to be able to promote themselves. They don't want to consolidate. They like where they are. They might not have a say or a choice. What's the next one, Jamie? Here's what we're asking. How to reach out. Right now, because we're still learning, there's just an opportunity to figure out who you know. If you're from a Coldwell and you still have those relationships, if you're from a Berkshire and you still have relationships, schedule a coffee, reach out to them, give them the space to just listen and figure out what they're feeling and why they're feeling it, what's going on, be that soft place to land, and ask questions, come from real, true, genuine, curiosity, and then let me know, okay? Let me know, oh, I talked to so-and-so, they're feeling a little bit uncertain, and, it might be an opportunity for you guys to schedule a coffee with them, but then keep me in the know so that I can, figure out a way to get in. But right now, we just want to keep our ears open and just listen and resist the urge. I learned this lesson from Colin yesterday. Resist the urge to fill silence with a pitch. Do not pitch to them right now. Just listen, keep your ears peeled, and then get to me and let me know what's going on, and then we can figure it out from there. So you don't have to sell KW. I have a feeling there's going to be some serious fallout, but just be aware and allow them to tell you what's going on, and then get to it. So.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah, just to wrap it up, we'll wrap it up fast. Obviously, there's tons of change. Technology is evolving. Companies may consolidate, models will change, but it all still comes down to relationships remain the constant. So just keep up with those relationships. So thank you all for that. Thank you, CC, for helping. And let's welcome to Gary's stage.
Oh my God.
Right.
Big smile.
Right. Exactly right. Let's welcome a call. Funny, because if there's someone, and I have to grade someone on being an American, he's about as high up as it gets. I don't know what that means exactly, but. I don't know what that means.
All right, how are we doing this, Jamie? Are you like?
Go ahead and, oh yeah,
Here, or what are we doing?
well, I'm throwing the shells stuff.
Well, go ahead, yeah.
I'll do that. No, it's just, here's what we planned. It was totally just off the cuff. We have a handful of slides. And Colin basically is gonna ask you guys, what do you think of this slide? The goal is to be able to articulate this to your clients clearly. Sitting at I don't know, somewhere next to somebody and they say X. Well, here's my sound bite back to you.
All right, so who was here when I went through a lot of this stuff in January? All right, so you know where Gary got all his material. Was he plugged in? Oh, he might be plugged in, I'm sure. And I joke about that, but I mean, the information is the information, right? He's gonna have the same info that I do, so. His is probably not quite as good, but he'll have some of the same stuff, so. Jamie thought it would be worthwhile to grab some slides from Gary's vision speech, excuse me. And then let's just have a discussion on some of this. Let's see what we're recognizing in the marketplace. What are we experiencing related to some of these different stats? And then how do we address it with our clients? All right, does that work for everybody? All right. So I'm sitting today, so I'm not gonna pace quite as much, but I'll probably pop up real fast. Okay, so who can tell me what they're thinking about this slide right here?
Are we flattening or are we going up?
Well, they're projecting 4.3, but we started off across the whole country and in Minnesota for sure, way down in jail.
Probably 12 to 15% behind last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, we got a lot of
Catch
take it up.
Yeah.
If we're gonna hit 4.3 billion.
I would agree with
Yeah.
that. What else are we seeing based on this?
Pretty much,
Real
that's the
estate
trend
goes-
line.
Real estate goes in cycles.
Pretty much of the.
That's the trend line.
Jolly?
Well, we've been bumping along that 4.1, 4.2 for the last 14, 15 years. We've kind of found the floor.
Yeah. I like that comment too, because see, I knew it would take long. We look at this. This is 94, 95, 96. We're doing the same number of units as we did in 94, 95, 96. You're right, and I wish I would have looked at my notes from January. I think there's like 80 million people more living here today than there was in 94, 95, 96.
They have a lot more apartment buildings too.
Okay, but sure, but on a per capita basis, we are not just scraping along the floor, like we're down in unit count.
Steve, and you know, if you look at the 7.1 billion in about, what, 2005?
Yep.
That was a false level because of lots of mortgage fraud.
Investors.
And then at 6.1 in about 21, that was because of COVID. And it artificially lowered the interest rates to the levels that they should go, so the two peaks there are
False.
BS.
So Steve and I have lots of room. And I told Steve with his raw report, I said, I don't care what you do, do not take 2019 off your report.
Yeah.
Because as far as I can tell, and usually you have to be sane to tell what's sane. So I don't know if I'm a good one to say this. But the last year of reasonableness and sanity that isn't totally skewed by something in the market, in my opinion, was 2019.
Yep.
Because the second COVID hit, we had the artificially low rates, and then we had the artificially high rates. And we're still trying to figure out how in the hell are we gonna work through this mess? So from here forward, those are the numbers. That's what has happened. But does anyone really put a whole lot of faith in any of it? Because it's so skewed by all this nonsense that was going on.
Government shutdowns, all that stuff.
Yeah, so. I don't know, like if I look at this. Is it reasonable to say that? This window. Is. Maybe where things. Should somewhere balance out to be.
A normal.
Normal, whatever is there ever a normal anymore? Yeah, I don't know. I've been waiting a long time. Olivia's been waiting 25 years for a normal, it hasn't shown up either, so. So what are we talking to our clients about though? It is what it is,
Right.
right? Like,
Either one of them, you don't.
I don't know, is it a good market, a bad market, or is it just the market? At the end of the day, it's just the market.
I think the partial conclusion can be that no matter what. Don't base your future or your hopes on what has happened. It will keep going. And just do the basics that you need to do. Because we're still selling real estate.
We are, and I think this is absolutely our floor, because this is death, force, babies. New job, relocation, like this is the needs, right? I don't think, maybe we're starting to see the wants. Maybe, is anyone experiencing that?
Yep.
There, I see you
Yep.
nodding,
I'm nodding my head, but I agree that these last few years have been mostly needs.
needs,
Yeah.
yep.
Needs hills.
Sooner or later, the wants come back. You know, so what, if we're doing I had a whole bunch of really smart thoughts on this yesterday, but that was yesterday, so they might be true. If we're doing four, how many slides did we have, Jamie?
Eight.
Oh boy, I better go fast. This is what happens when he just gives me the clicker.
I'll shut up.
No, it's my fault. If we're doing 4 million units a year, so that's 2 million buy sides, right? There's probably 10% of those that are cash, maybe a little bit more. Let's say there's 20% cash, just to be safe. So that tells me we've got about 1.6 million new mortgages every year across the country. And those are at today's mortgage rates. So if we keep doing that year after year after year, sooner or later, there are enough people that are at this new level of mortgages where the I can do it because I want to starts to come into play again, because now we're not stepping up to a higher interest rate, assuming that this kind of is about where we settle, right? Give or take. So that was my smart thought for yesterday. I don't know what else to say, like in terms of clients, it is what it is. We know what the stats are, we know how long it's taking to sell homes, we know how many showings we have to get an offer. The metrics are the metrics, none of that changes. I don't know. When we were here, I'm guessing we thought that the market next year would be better. And then we were here, the market next year is gonna be better. And then here, the market next year is gonna be better, except this year, we're already 15% behind locally. So
And I don't expect interest rates probably to get below 5.5. I think a 5.5% market actually can be a great market, because that's what you had in the 70s, in the early 70s. And that's all we sold in the 80s when interest rates were 18.5%, was those 5% assumables.
probably what it should be. I mean,
And that's where things kind of,
I wanna get my, at least on my money, that's, I mean, I don't know, that seems reasonable. Okay, what do we got here? Home prices, I don't know, are we a little bit above, remember the new national? If you look at Minnesota numbers, I think I showed the Minnesota numbers in January, didn't I? Thank you for remembering. Michelle, you're awesome. I don't even remember what I finished it. I think Minnesota was really close to the trend line, because we didn't go up as high as everybody else. So, I don't know, you look at this nationwide, yeah, are we a little bit above the trend line? Sure, but boy, you tack another 2 years onto it, we're probably right there. We're probably gonna be right there, and in Minnesota, I think we are.
Do you take property taxes into an account on this? Because honestly, I just got slammed on my property tax.
expect another 10% next year.
That's fluctuates, right? That's not the market, that's local decisions. So, and that's going to impact price as well.
Yes. Big time.
Okay, so what's the talking point with our clients? Especially if you look at this on a Minnesota level, and we're at the trend line. I mean, I'm waiting for prices to come down.
They're not.
Well,
I don't know, like, how many of these bars do we have to have in front of people to say it's not gonna happen?
right, the genie's out of the bottle. Once the money is into the system, gets in the system, period.
I was just saying, prices don't go down.
But also, they go up.
Over time, they don't go down.
Everybody's seen me with that graph, right? The wavy line that goes up. You might be at the top of the moment, but you're never at the top of the market. It's the whole discussion of why we've got inflation, why are the prices higher tomorrow than today? Because that's how our monetary system is set up, as evidenced right here. Top of the moment, if you bought right here and now you're here, do you really care? Yeah, it might have sucked for a while. But it doesn't now.
It's also not very easy to outsave that line.
Yeah, good luck.
So if you think you can, if it's hard now and you don't think it'll be harder in the future, then you're not really looking at the evidence.
So simple mind, so simple numbers, right? $400,000 average sale price in the Twin Cities. 3% appreciation, which we've been higher than that, believe it or not, here. That's $12,000. Who can save an extra 12 grand a year, realistically, when you're speaking with a buyer who could save an extra $12,000 a year to make sure next year's prices don't have any more impact on them as, compared to today. Excellent point, you are not going to outsave your vacation, period. Not gonna happen. For the majority of people. All right, anything else on that one? Mortgage rates. Okay, so the top line is historical average 72 to 23. The green one, historical 90 to 23. 7.72 on the upper one, 6 on the lower one. We were just in the 5s, right? Now it's spiked up, it's about 6.5. There's premium built into that 6.5. I just looked before I got up here just to be very prepared for you. I looked at the 10-year treasury was 4.31. And who remembers the rule of thumb? How much we tack onto that historically to get to our 30-year fixed average? Usually about 1.75 historically. So if we say 2, my math says 6.3. Take a quarter off that, we're down to about 6. There's premium built in the market right now. It's uncertainty again. That'll come out. Everything does. So historically speaking, I mean, this was a heyday, right? Well, I wish we could have had this. Well, you should have bought more of that. It's gone. Yesterday's gone. I can't do anything about it. I think the other thing that's important is just remembering people buy monthly payments. They don't buy price, they don't buy rate, they buy monthly. So there's nobody cares what the price of the house is. The price of the house is reflected by what they can afford for the monthly payment. And it doesn't matter what the price point is. I was with an out of town buyer all weekend, and we were looking at anything up to 1.6, and it all came down to, you know what, I'm more comfortable with 8,000 a month than I am 10,000 a month. Doesn't matter what the price point is.
Donald's too, yeah.
What's that?
We are too, yeah. Definitely not.
But I mean, isn't that a really interesting indicator? Someone's got, like, maybe well, there's no real financial concern, and she basically said, I don't know, I don't wanna go there, I'm more comfortable at 8 than I am at 10. And somebody's gonna be more comfortable at 3 than they are at 4, and it doesn't matter. Whatever your number is, that's your number. Okay, this goes to my really intelligent point that I made earlier. 48.5% of mortgages are at least 4% or more. And that's gonna keep growing because we've got that give or take 1.6 million new units every year that have a mortgage on them at today's rates. So the bigger that segment of the population becomes, the more people are gonna be willing to make a move because they want to. Thoughts, questions on that?
I think it's pretty surprising how many people are above 6 already.
Yeah. Yeah, over a fifth, good point.
I mean, that's a big number.
Recently had you sitting in the front row.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is gonna take a long time for these, those that actually have them to go away. Mine's gonna go away when I make my last payment. It's, I'm not giving it up, I don't care. I don't care. I am not giving that mortgage up, Shane.
I was just gonna say, I think there is a little bit of education out there too to try to get some of those people to move. In the sense that there are people living beyond their means and debt. So there's this theory that I've got a 3 rate and I'm killing it. But then if they're living in their debt and they refi at a 6, it sounds crazy. But oftentimes they're saving money.
They are.
When they're, but I just don't think that is out there because everybody's just I got a 3 and they're just so excited about it that they don't really understand that they could actually be saving money with a potential refis, stuff like that.
And that's the very reason we're seeing refis. pick
Yeah,
up.
because they got, yeah,
Because it's
twenty,
a cycle.
29%.
They've got the piggy banks full. The piggy bank is full of equity.
Yeah.
And I've spent everything and now I'm gonna break open the piggy bank. That that's the cycle. Okay, this looks really complicated.
So this came from every time the Fed makes a move. Everyone just assumes the rates are gonna move with it immediately and such, so
Yeah.
when our clients ask about this, I'm gonna wait because I think the Fed's gonna drop.
They're really good at catching me as I'm tripping over my thumb here.
I didn't know what it was.
You saved it. Yeah, this is just a good way to visually understand how our 30-year rates and the Fed fund rate tend to follow one another. So if you look at the blue, what the Fed is doing, it corresponds pretty well. Usually the mortgages follow shortly thereafter. And this is interesting, right? There hasn't been a whole lot of movement here recently, but we can see what the trend is. So does that mean rates are better tomorrow than they are today? I don't know, probably not a guarantee. I'm guessing a month ago, nobody thought we'd be 10% higher today than we were a month ago. So I think at some point, especially with buyers, maybe sellers too, well, I want rates to go down so that I can sell my house for more. I can buy the next house, for less. I'm not gonna buy it for less. Their payment's not gonna change, right? It's the teeter-totter analogy. Unless the teeter-totter's broken, it works like this. Prices, interest rates. That's literally what happens. And guess what happens right in the middle? Your payment. That's not going to change. So. What else? What do you guys see? Anything else? Did I miss it?
That they didn't go down that much when it was always at zero, I mean, there's still a big gap between them, and so when everybody heard all that borrowing money was for the feds.
Yeah, I mean, it took a long time, didn't it?
Mhm.
It took a long time.
They were recovering from that real crash.
Yeah, like if you look from here. It took, we'll call it 9. It took all the way to 19, so 10 years to get to probably, I don't know, a percent drop, a little bit more than a percent drop. And then it really dove, obviously, which again, take this and just erase it. That's all fake. That should have never happened. I've said it before, if anybody says, oh, I wish we could have 3% rates again, well,
No, you don't.
no, you don't, because that means something is going terribly.
It means you're gonna have inflation like crazy.
Terribly. Inflation is always going to be there, right? We know.
What's
going to bounce
when
around.
rates go down.
I don't care what anyone says, this is BS. Whatever they say it is, it's higher. But the fact of the matter is, we know it's there. If we have a consistent measure, great. We saw what happened, right? Cheap money, oh, well.
Yeah.
It got expensive, period. And we dumped a bunch of money into the system, everything got expensive, period.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's going to work its way through the system. It's all cycles. We don't have the 70s on here, so when this started happening. I looked at it and I thought, okay, I think I know what's gonna happen, but let me talk to somebody that actually experienced it. So I called my dad and I said, Dad, what happened in the late seventies and early eighties when there was the really high inflationary period? He said, well, he said, everything went up, prices all went up. He said, some things adjusted downward from the peak. But most everything just stayed there. And that was the new normal.
Yes.
That's just what it was. So, you know, have we seen some things pull back? Sure. Did some things get artificially high? Sure. But his comment was, yeah, that's just what it became. So generally speaking, what you see is what you get. I don't think it's changing. Thoughts on that?
The only thing I can remember experiencing in the mid-80s was the, Orrin Thompson, I remember, had 12 points built into their interest rate prices to buy them down from 2018, 20, to, you know, 15.99 or something. And then in 85, when rates started dropping, then their prices started dropping. That was the only time you could buy new construction cheaper than you could buy existing.
Sure.
85 and 86.
Yeah. But we didn't, I mean, our rates didn't get so out of hand that, I mean, what do we peak at? Just over 8? 8 and an eighth or something like that, I think we peaked at, which is what I bought on my property. Genius. But I can refinance it now, so who cares?
That's right.
So again, I think like all of this stuff, it's important to understand it, it's important to know what's going on. But I think it's also very important for us to be grounded and it is what it is. And then what are we comparing it to? Treasury yield, so yeah, I just talked about this, so the 10-year 4.31 or 4.35 big. Interest rates are somewhere in around that 6.5. So we were at the start of this year at about a 1.9 premium. So again, we talked about that in January and Gary stole it from me. We'll get back there. You can see over time, it's been pretty consistent. Extra low here. Kind of interesting. What else? What else do we see there? You can see obviously the spike that we encountered. And now it's tightening back up again, normalizing. So again, it's just time for all this stuff to work through the system. So do we think rates are gonna change dramatically from here? Krista already gave her opinion. Where do we think we're going? Yeah, I think at some point we end up in somewhere in the 5s. I don't think it'll be low 5s. I think it'll be 5.5 stays. So, which personally, I think it'd be I think those are good rates. When? I don't know. I've always been told, I can't remember who said it. If you're gonna make a prediction, you can predict the number, just don't predict when. Probably good advice. Yeah, pretty good advice. Affordability. Again, this is nationally. I don't know, what are you gonna wait for? I don't know. I look at this and I just scratch my head. Either you're going to buy or you're not, or you're going to sell or you're not, right? We're at the baseline. You don't have a bunch of because I want to's happening. That'll work its way through the system. I don't believe it's because of affordability. I believe it's because people are so married to those artificially low rates that they've locked in. Okay. And that will work its way through over time. I think when all this happened, my thought was it probably takes 2 buying cycles to get back to enough people that are at our standard, whatever that current rate is, to make the 2.5% to 3.5% rates
Yeah.
irrelevant.
Yeah.
So how long is that? Historically, that's 14 years.
Yeah.
Uh-huh, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Now, I think it should gradually get better over time. It's not gonna go from 0 to 100 on year 18, right? It'll happen over time. But I think to work this all out of the system. So 10 years at 1.6 million new mortgages. That's 16 million, so we're looking at 32 million new mortgages, if I'm right. And that's at today's pace. That should go up over time. So,
So Colin, how do you address the affordability issue when you're talking with your clients? Because I understand it is what it is, but, and maybe it's just my sphere, the people that I've been talking with that are, they're struggling to find homes that they can
Yeah.
actually afford in that monthly payment.
yep, well,
So, right.
Insurance.
So how do you, like, so we talk about, well, when's a good time to buy? Well, now, when's the best time to plant a tree? It was yesterday.
yeah,
But how do you combat some of that? When you're talking with these, trying to build that confidence in your clients that say, yeah, I know it looks kind of doom and gloom out.
I don't know how to say this without risking sounding like I'm.
Gotta give up the something. You gotta give up.
Okay, so number one. I'm out of time. Wait, do I keep going? We're 5 over. Do I keep going for a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, we hear about affordability in the media. I don't know how many people are looking at a chart like this.
Right.
Okay? I don't look at charts of where prices of vehicles or toothpaste or deodorant or movie tickets are, right? I experience it because it's my reality when I go to buy it. So this is where I don't wanna risk sounding brass or whatever, I don't know if that's not the right word, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. Either you can afford it or you can't. So if you can't afford this monthly payment, our option is. What are we going to give up to get to a price point based on the current interest rates that makes your monthly payment work? Or we have to figure out a different scenario. Like if you, I don't know what to say, if you can't do it,
Don't do it.
right?
Go smaller.
But I think as advocates for this market
Yeah,
and the idea that in order to create generational wealth is to build homeowners. I mean, it's tough to have some of these conversations with them and say, no, you can't. Meanwhile, you can't afford rent either. So what is, as an industry, what do you think that we could maybe be advocating for
Okay.
to make this better?
I'm gonna be the ass.
Yeah.
When Olivia and I bought our house. I wore out this finger punching the numbers on my calculator. I think I went through 3 calculators. I kept coming up with the same number every time. I kept looking at it thinking. I drove a beat up old car. I don't remember if I had cable. I certainly
Didn't have.
wasn't paying $180 a month for whatever my plan is. I wasn't spending $1,200 a year on a new phone. I wasn't eating out, I was. You want this, or do you want that? And again, I don't say that to be an ass, but at the end of the day,
That's,
I don't know. I've got a lot more luxuries in my daily life at my age than my parents did. And I choose to pay for it. I don't know what to say. Society has programmed us that all these things are necessities.
Yeah.
No, they're not. Nope,
That's a good one.
nope. If you want to buy a house, you take a real good hard look at what your monthly in and out is. And you decide,
What's-
what am I willing to give up to achieve this goal? Now. Don't get me wrong, there are people that can't do it. I understand. I fully understand that. But at the end of the day. You don't need 2 brand new cars in the garage, you don't need this, that, the next thing. That's programming, that's societal programming, that's marketing. You've gotta make the decision.
I still will argue with you about this. I'll be the dick back. And say that there are a lot of people out there that are driving the crappy cars that still can't
Yes.
put food on
I
and
agree.
pay rent.
I agree, yep, and,
Yeah, exactly.
but you know what?
Taxes,
We
insurance.
can't change that.
Right. I'm just saying as an
This isn't a
industry, how
luxury.
do we? Like, where could we stand to help? You know, is it talking with developers to build less? You know, do we all need, the 3,000 square foot DR Hortons, or should we be asking them to build a 1,500 square foot to keep pricing down?
I'm just gonna do, land's too expensive.
That'll make money.
It's the cost of development.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
It's the fees.
It's the
this,
city
it's the
that
that,
tax the,
everybody,
yes.
and it's all these requirements that every layer of our governance adds in with good intention. And the result is now it costs X instead of Y to develop that dirt. So if we're starting with dirt, that's far more expensive because of all of these requirements that have been added in. And I'm not saying they're wrong. That's the challenge. Right? You can't build a $200,000 structure. Well, number one, I don't even know that you can. But you can't build a $200,000 structure on a $200,000 lot. It doesn't work financially, right? So. It's a big nugget. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Gotta go to some
I
little
don't know how
town.
to fix that. Okay, so this is interesting. You know what this tells me?
But I'm talking to too many people. Being frustrated, yeah.
So that's saying 17% of the people think it's a good time to buy?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That tells me I should buy everything I can possibly buy right now.
Cause you've got less competition up there.
Yep. If somebody pulls a fire alarm in this room right now, and everybody runs for that exit, am I smartest to go to that exit, or should I just walk right out this one? I don't know. That's what it tells me.
That's what a fire, the fireman goes running around.
Shane, that was April Fool's.
This is all mentality, right? All of it is just fire sentiment. And some of it is market forces, right? Economic forces. But it ebbs and flows. I don't know, look at this in 4 years, look at it. Same thing here. It'll come back up.
Well, to me, it says, if we're thinking we're gonna go up. And sell more houses this year than we did last year. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe. This means we're flattening, we're at the bottom of this sentiment, and that's gonna turn and start going back up.
Right.
Maybe, I don't know.
No, that's a great point.
Jamie cut off the end of the slide, I don't know.
Well, I think if you look at that graph though, there's almost no time where the down points are suspended. I mean. It's, the downturns are very short on that graph.
Yep,
Before they rebound. It's just not a thing.
so what else does that tell us? For all these super smart, savvy real estate people that are gonna time the market.
You can't.
Well, there's a 40-year, no,
That's 60 years.
60-year history
Plus
of
a year.
the lowest one is in 66,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're at 17. So you're right, buy everything you can buy.
Yeah, I just don't know how you time the market, because the only way you know if you time it right is you get down the road.
Yeah.
So buyer says, I don't know if it's a good time to buy a home, but your blanket statement.
What do you need? What are your
You need
needs? Why do you want to buy a home? Why do you want to buy a home? I'm tired of paying my landlord. I wanna start building my own equity. Okay,
Sounds like a good time to me.
and $12,000 a year on the $400,000 house. What's your interest rate on your rent? 100% because they're paying zero principal. Right? So what, at the end of the day, what do you need? What do you desire? Why do you want to do it?
And soul search, is there anything you're doing right now that you can afford to give up?
Yeah.
In order to achieve that?
If financials are an issue, absolutely. What do we give up to? I've heard it. I don't know. If I buy this, I'm gonna give up all these amenities that I have in my apartment right now. Yep. Guess what? Your apartment building is gonna be worth far more money in 10 years than it is today. And you will have paid for all of that. So,
That $12,000 a year appreciation is $33 a day. That's the cost. That's like $1.40 per hour. Every hour. So either you get on the bus or you don't.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's just. Obviously, the finances come into it, yes, it's needed, but why? Why do you wanna buy? Everybody has a reason. I want stability, I want a place to call home. I mean, those are, at the end of the day, those are number 1 and 2. Those are number 1, I want it to be mine, okay? So then you're gonna buy, if you want to achieve that, you're going to buy. So this is what we're dealing with. Is it a good time? In what regard? Right? Compared to what? I don't know. Is it a good time? What do you mean by that? Can you tell me more? Well, our prices high? Well, they're higher than they were 10 years ago. They're probably not as high as they're going to be in 5 years. Again, I don't say any of this flippantly, it just is what it is.
Conversations breaking through the societal. That's
I don't know what to say about this.
Thanks, Colin.
Thanks,
Let's give it up for Colin. Thank you. Well, I will save smart, goofy comments for another time, because we want you guys to fill up with some yummies. Do finish up all the rest of Maria's cereal, because there's gonna be a new month sponsor. And mega agents, as you heard from Tony Cater's story, please come back and let's build together. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Let's go by.
I know.
I haven't felt that, the big guy.
Yeah.
I know.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah, it sounds like that. I'm gonna try it. Our friend, I'll stay too long, I can't, they all have their one man. Oh, I guess they have.
I kind of felt under copy of, yeah.
I'm hearing something. It's not enough to say.
So much.
Not that you. One thing that I often tell.
You have no face for that.
Real estate person, you are a salesperson. This is don't sell them. People think it is.
Yeah.
What you do is sell your services. And in order to sell your services. Then that's where that fiduciary.
We're gonna have you send it, because it doesn't give us.
Let suspect. Okay, I'm spending $8,000.
Brainer will, you could send Brainer yours too unless you already have it.
When?
So.
What could I do with that $2,000? Right, I mean, the one thing I have to have is someone, period, we have to have somewhere. So if I spent that $2,000. Even if the place wasn't right, what I'm doing is. Rent it, every month, it's gone, and then in a year.
We're gonna get the slide back from.
So people have no choice, it's just gonna go up. Believe, the rent is going up.
Yeah.
There's no way around. And that's money. Whereas if I own a percentage of my money is going to the price, so that when I sell it, I get a percentage of that. In addition to that, my house is gonna increase the price. And that's one of the grabs, about how price is just always, home prices build up.
Yeah.
So over the course of some of the money I'm doing for my land, paying down the people that I owe. But in addition to that, the price that I said, well, that's why I'm making money on the pay.
Right.
Yes.
When I'm younger, I'm thinking, man, to buy a house, or should I keep renting?
Thank you.
People spend all their time justifying one place or another, but in the as a fiduciary, it's my job to explain and make sure it's clear why people who have in their older years do not spend their life like this. That just, there is no, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying that most of us are going to do the thing that makes the most sense. And that is, I can absolutely go to Vegas right now. I can lay $100 down on this on the roulette wheel, and
Yep.
maybe I win.
Yep.
But that's not the best financial strategy for me.
That's where we don't wanna go anymore. That's when
And at least in our economy, the investing in houses. So from a process standpoint, it's important that we understand that, articulate that, and having so much. Is important.
Yeah.
And then, and the test.
Yeah, especially you don't, you know,
Yeah.
that is so interested in numbers and, but no, it definitely is. A lot of this, because of this.
And your example, there are some people who are absolutely gonna sit down and go, this is amazing.
Yeah, right.
This is amazing, this is the most important and interesting thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And for me, really? I hope you had fun.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's other people where.
I just wanna make sure I'm doing enough.
Mean, like.
I think it's $200.
Walked out 20 minutes ago. and I did.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you round it down,
Okay.
if you're rounding down, $200.
So, post town meetings, I tend to be a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't think I have your phone number.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, well, one moment, don't hear. I'm all set.
But we do this on a Wednesday basis for everybody in the offices.
Yeah. Yeah.
She said. It's all about. You know, sometimes it's having sort of posted. I'm not sure why it's in place. And they're doing that, and that's a great reminder for me, I probably won't cut that off. It's not, they're doing it straight.
And then.
Well, we did. Fun fact. But. Right. Cause you don't set your boundaries now, it's something that they're lifestyle.
Turn my phone on. Should I pick your screen, John? Yeah. It's so, but you're right. Yeah. Like this.
Maybe we can. It's a.